Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Jacinta. If this is your first time here, thank you for stopping by. In this video, I'm going to share with you guys how to cut and sew a perfectly fitted palazzo trouser. If you are interested in learning, kindly watch till the end. And if you're yet to subscribe, hit on that subscribe button below. And also turn on your notification bell so you get notified whenever I upload a new video. Without wasting much time, let's get started with the tutorial. Starting off with the pattern drafting, from the tip of my pattern paper, I'll mark 2 inches downwards and square across, and I'll label that my waistline. I'll also mark 2 inches inwards from the side and connect, and I'll label that side margin. The next I'm going to mark is the crouch line. To get the crouch line, is either you ask your client to sit on a flat surface while you measure from their waist to the seat, or you divide the hip circumference by 4 and add extra 2 inches. So that was exactly what I did. My waist circumference was 38. I divided by 4 and it gave me 9.5 inches. Added extra 2 inches allowance, making it 11.5. So placing my tape on my waistline, I'll mark 11.5 inches downwards and square across, and I'll also label that crouch line. On the crouch line, I'll come outwards by 1 inch from the side margin and extend the crouch line to that outwards 1 inch. So go ahead and do that just like the way I did. Next, I'm going to mark quarter of my waist circumference. The waist measurement I'm using is 30 inches. 30 inches divided by 4 is 7.5, and I'll add extra 2 inches, making it 9.5. So I'm marking 9.5 on the waistline. While marking, start from the side margin line. Do not include the 2 inches side margin. So I'll mark the 9.5 inches on my waistline, and I'll also mark 9.5 inches on the crouch line and connect the 2 marks with a straight line. The next thing I'm going to do now is to divide my 1 lap circumference by 2. So my lap measurement is 26 inches divided by 2 is 13. So I'm going to mark 13 inches on the crouch line, and I'm starting from the 1 inch I marked outwards, just like the way you see me doing. So I'll start from that 1 inch I marked outwards, and I'm going to impute the 13 inches on the crouch line. On this point where the straight line and the crouch line met, I'm going to mark angle 45. I'm going to do this using my master ruler, but if you don't have a master ruler, you can use a protractor to mark angle 45. And if you don't also have a protractor, you can mark 2 inches in a slanted form from that point, just like the way you see me doing. The next thing I'm going to do now is to divide the distance from this point to this point. This second point is half of the last measurement I marked on the crouch line. So I'm going to find half of the measurement I got from these 2 points, and I'll mark it on this angle 45 that I marked here. Then I'll use my curved ruler to connect from this straight line to this mark I made on the angle 45 to the half of my last measurement I marked on the crouch line, just like this. What I'm going to do now is to place my tape on my waistline, and I will mark downwards to my knee line. The knee line I'm working with is 22 inches. So I'm going to mark 22 inches and I'll square across, and I will label that knee line. My pattern paper was not long enough, so I had to add extra. So I placed my tape on my waistline, and I'll mark downwards to my ankle line, which is the full length of this trouser. And the measurement I'm working with is 38 inches. So I'll mark 38 inches and I'll square across. And I'll also add extra 2 inches, making it 40 inches. This 2 inches is for folding the down parts. And I'll go ahead and label these lines. Now I'm going to divide half of my lap circumference that I marked on the crouch line, which is 12 inches because the outward 1 inch is not included. Divided into total, I'm going to have 6 inches. I'm going to mark these 6 inches on all the lines: crouch line, knee line, the ankle line, and the allowance. While marking the 6 inches, I'll place my tape on the side margin line. After marking it, I'm going to connect all the marks with a dotted line. This dotted line is called the crease line. On my knee line, I'm going to mark part of my 1 knee circumference. That is my 1 knee circumference divided by 4. I'm going to mark it on both sides of the crease line. I will do the same on the ankle line. I'll divide my ankle circumference by 4 and mark whatever it gave me on both sides of the crease line. I will also mark same measurements on the allowance line. What I'm going to do now is to connect all the points together with my ruler. So just go ahead and connect your marks just like the way you see me doing. For the side front on the waistline, I'll come inwards by 1 inch and reconnect it to the 1 inch I came out by on the cross line. From there, I'll connect it to the knee line and also to the ankle line and the allowance. What I'm going to do now is to determine how wide I want my palazzo to be. To do this, on the ankle line, I'm going to come out by 3 inches on both sides of the ankle measurements. So I wanted my palazzo to be moderate, that was why I did 3 inches. If you want yours to be very wide, you can go as far as adding 5 inches or 6 inches. Now I'm going to connect it to my crotch line, but I don't want it to be free exactly from my hips. I'm going to come down by about 2 inches from my crotch line, and from that 2 inches I'm going to connect it downwards to the 3 inches I marked. And I'm also going to do the same for the other side. If you want your palazzo to be free from the hip, you're going to connect exactly from the crotch line. But if you want it somewhere close to the knee, you can come upwards by 4 inches from your knee line. Then from that 4 inches, you connect it to the 3 inches downwards. So this depends totally on where you want the palazzo to be free from. Anywhere at all you want it to be free from, you can make a mark there, and then from that point you connect it down to your full length. And you are doing this for the two sides. This is the center and the side part. So I was done drafting the front pattern of this palazzo short. What I'm going to do now is to draft the back pattern. For the back pattern, I'm going to come upwards by 1.5 inches from the front curve on the angle 45 line, and I'll make a mark there. On the crotch line, I'm going to come outwards by 3.5 inches from the front lapse measurement. On the second line, that is the palazzo line, I'm also going to come outwards by 3.5 inches on the knee line and on the ankle line. After that, I'm going to connect with my ruler. I'm also going to connect this part with my curved ruler. For the waistband, I'm going to come downwards by 2 inches from the waistline. I'll make a mark there and square across. On the center waistline, I'm going to come upwards by 1 inch. If you're drafting for a plus size, you come upwards by 1.5 inches. And I will slant it to the side waistline. And that is all for the drafting of the front and back pattern of a palazzo trouser. I'll go ahead now and cut it out. Make sure you follow the lines of the back pattern while cutting out. If you follow the front line, you've spoiled your trouser pattern unless you drafted separately. So if you drafted the way I did, ensure to follow the lines of the back pattern while cutting out. After cutting out the pattern, I'm going to fold my fabric into two and place the pattern on it. I will use my office pin to hold the pattern and the fabric together to avoid shifting while cutting. After that, I'm going to cut it out. The only allowance I'm going to be adding is on the waistline, 1/2 inch for joining of the band. Every other thing is going to be the same. All the allowance we need has already been added on the pattern. I was done cutting the back piece. I'm going to remove this pattern now and cut out the back lines from the pattern, so I will have only the front pattern. Before cutting, look closely at the pattern to ensure you are cutting along the lines you're supposed to cut. After cutting, you fold your fabric into two and place your front palazzo pattern on it, and you're going to cut exactly just like what we did for the back. You're going to add 1/2 inch on the waistline, and every other thing is going to be the same. I was done cutting, so I was marking the wrong side, so I'll be able to differentiate it from the right side because this fabric, the front and back are almost the same. Now for the pocket, I'm going to fold my fabric into two, and for the width, I'm going to cut 7.5 inches. Then the length, that is the deepness of the pocket, I'm cutting 11 inches. So I'm going to cut this out. Then I'll fold my fabric into two again and place it for the second one. I'm going to cut open the two pocket piece. I'll mark 2.5 inches for the width, and for the depth, I'm going to mark 7 inches. Then I'll connect the two marks slanted. You can make it slanted or you can make it curved. Depends on what you want. So I made mine curved. Remember, I have 4 pocket pieces here, so I'm going to cut only 2 pieces. On the down part, you can leave it the way it is, or you can curve it a little bit. It's just to make it to have a little style on the down part. So on this part, I came up waist by 3 inches and I curved in to the other side. For this down part, I'm going to cut the 4 pocket pieces. I was done cutting. Now it's time to join the pieces together. I will first of all separate the front piece and place this pocket piece that has curve on the upper part, front facing front, at the side front like this. And I will sew this curved area using 1/2 inch. I will do this for the 2 front sides. After that, I'm going to cut this place off. This is the main fabric. You can see what I'm doing. I will remove the pins and turn to the right side. Then I'll top stitch on the pocket piece. I'm going to fold it in this way. You can iron it so that it will relax, or you can use your pin to hold it. Then you're going to place this second pocket piece that has curve only on the down part underneath this trouser. So just like the way you see me doing, go ahead and do yours. Make sure that the 2 pocket piece aligns at the down part so you have the curve. Use your pin to hold it down. Then you go ahead and sew this upper part. So I was done with the other front piece. This is me doing the same thing for the second front piece. I've placed the second pocket piece underneath. I'm going to sew this upper part, and I'll also sew this down part to hold everything together. I'll turn the back and join the 2 pocket piece together. So after joining, this is what it looks like. And this is the front. You can see how neat it looks. What I'm going to do now is to join the 2 front pieces together. So placing them front facing front like this, I'm going to use 1/2 inch to join the crotch only. I will do exactly the same for the back. I'll place the 2 back pieces front facing front and sew the crotch area using 1/2 inch. I was done with that. As you can see, the next thing I'm going to do now is to place the front part and the back piece together, and I'll sew the 2 sides using 1 inch. I'll go back to my machine and do that, and I'll be right back. I was done joining the 2 sides with 1 inch. As you can see, what I'm going to do now is to fold the down part. So the 2 inches we added while we were drafting at the full length, that's what I'm going to fold right now. So I'll quickly do that and be back. I was done folding the down part. As you can see, I used hemming gum to fold it. That is why it came out this neat. What I'm going to do now is to join the center sides of this trouser. To do this, I'm going to pin the crotch of the front and the back together. We use 1/2 inch to join from the crotch to the full length of both sides. I was done sewing the center with 1/2 inch. As you can see, what I'm going to do now is to fix the waistband. To do this, I'm going to lose a little bit of one side of the trouser, because that is where I'll be attaching my zip. So I will lose one side of the seam allowance. I was losing it here, but I didn't know my camera was not capturing. So just go ahead and lose one side of your, do not lose the entire side, just lose a little bit of one side of the trouser. So I've lost one side, and this is it. I'm going to take the round waist measurement of this trouser from one side of this seam allowance that I lost to the other side of the same allowance, and I'm going to take this measurement 2 times to be sure of the accurate measurement. After measuring the round waist of the trouser, I'm going to fold my fabric into 2. I'm going to mark the length, the measurement I got. Then for the wideness, I'm going to mark 2.5 inches on fold. The 2 inches is the 2 inches of my nose when we were drafting, and 1/2 inches for joining. So I'm going to do that and then cut it out. Next, I'm going to attach the band to my trouser waist. I'm going to fold the band into 2, and I will place it on the trouser waist and pin it. So I'm going to pin it from one seam to the other seam. Before you sew, you're going to pin it so that you make sure that it goes round. So go ahead and pin the band to your trouser waist, and then you're going to use 1/2 inch to join the both of them together. I was done attaching the band to the trouser waist. As you can see, I added a stay to the band because this material was really light. So what I'm going to do now is to attach the zip. So I'm going to mark 8 inches downwards from the waist. That would be the depth of the zip. So for this side zip, you're going to join it just like the way you attach a normal dress zip. You place the zip on the allowance and they're going to sew it on both sides. So just watch closely and see how I did. I'm sewing it on that 1 inch allowance. I was done sewing on this side. I'm going to sew the other side. I was done sewing both sides, so I'm going to cut the excess and then I'll fold it this way and sew it. And that will be all for the drafting, cutting and sewing of a palazzo trouser with side zip. If you find this video interesting and you've learned something new, please give me a thumbs up and hit on that subscribe button, and do not forget to turn on your notification bell to get notified whenever I upload a new video. Thanks for watching and see you guys in my next tutorial.